It's funny when the camera gets pulled out, because prior to that, or even when the recording starts, there could be a thought that comes up about what wants to be talked about. And this happens in life in many different ways. And then something completely different surfaces. But when those two things align, some small percentage of the time, a thought and an action may coincide or line up, and then that feeds a sense of identity and a sense of self and an idea that I made a choice about what to do, that there's someone here making a choice about what to speak about. But what I just noticed was a thought about a topic, but then a watching of perhaps something completely different coming through. So I suppose that even just that in itself lends itself to a topic around thought and the inherent emptiness of thought. That thought is grasped at and attached to as what I am, as an identity, as a sense of self. But how often in your life does a thought arise that we either try to distance our sense of self from, or doesn't end up coming to fruition despite our grasping to it? The sense of silence is really loud right now here. There's been all of these, various layers of, deeper insight and integrating the inside and shifts, but there's just like this deep sense here that there's another big layer moving through. And I suppose it partly has to do with thought and just the watching of thought and the inherent emptiness of thought. But I suppose I want to preface any speaking about thought with, it's taken time for me to get to a place of really watching thought from a place of detachment. And there has been a long period of time where what was needed, like the thoughts that were surfacing, there was just these looping, just like topics or things that were grasped at. And so a lot of that had to be cleared out. And there's a way that, just trying to watch thoughts can become a coping mechanism and just another escape to avoid fully meeting, an emotion, a sensation, like an energetic movement in the body. There's a way that these, spiritual practices, like at a certain stage, are so profound, and they kind of just begin to happen of their own volition. But there was a point, at least for me, where there was trying. There was a lot of efforting to do something, but it wasn't realized at the time that was just another like coping mechanism, another way to avoid completely meeting whatever was arising in a moment, whether that be like a a really uncomfortable sensation, a fear, anger, grief, sadness, shame, guilt. So all of those had to be moved through and dug through and met so fully that it was seen that that is not what I am, you know. And so there's like a readiness in a lot of these practices, but and what I found for myself in my own experience is that certain practices just started to happen naturally, and there's wasn't an effort made anymore, and just following that, you know. But what seems, and I can't say for sure, but just the sense that I get for whatever this movement is that seems to be happening now is it's like this, the rapidity with which the emptying is happening is almost like becoming faster and faster and faster to a point where it's almost, having a hard time holding my camera, holding my phone, to the point where it's like that everything is dying the second that it's happening. Like the death and the arising and the disappearing is simultaneous. And there's like this deep, very visceral, cellular body level of like letting go that is in one way really uncomfortable. But it's like there's nothing to hold it back anymore. There's no like gates or like valves or, there's no dam anymore to hold it back at all. And so I want to, something I want to speak to in regards to that stuff is like, if that's not your experience, don't worry about it. It's easy to watch videos and kind of be scared off from this stuff or be intimidated by it or for a fear response to come up. But I guess, this too can serve as a reminder that like whatever's happening in your life is your teacher, like in your own experience, in your own life, and paying attention to that. Like that becomes the only teacher. Things just naturally happen. It's like events in life will perfectly align for your unique unfolding. And for this unfolding here, a big part of that has been like this place, this physical space, shamanism, the relationship that I had dissolving, or having to kill Henry as a teacher. Like if you see the Buddha on the road, kill him. Having to kill my teacher, and then now there's different layers. My dog Bailey, she's been kind of on and off this channel for a while. She was a big part of the conversations that Henry and I would have. Like she was always present for those, and she started having some health issues. She's very old, so there's like kind of her entering like an end stage of her life is surfacing deeper layers to this. That, and then, just like relating to people in different ways, and just like deeper layers of relating, exposing really deeply conditioned patterns, like kind of fundamentals of being a human, death, what it means to relate as a human, what it means to be a human, to identify with being a human. And so just paying attention to whatever's happening in your own life it's set up perfectly for your own unique unfolding. And to follow that. And, naturally there may be a point where there's a pushing and an efforting. But, maybe that seems to be perhaps necessary at one point to just exhaust that seeking energy, exhaust that personal will, that the one who wants to achieve something, or the one who that thinks it wants to find peace. It's searching for what it already is. So the shift that I had at the end of last year, like when I really started kind of documenting some of this stuff, was, the way that I would describe that now was it was like this, this may sound, I don't know, like scary or something. And, there were ways it was really, really effing uncomfortable, really fucking uncomfortable and disorienting. But it was like this black hole that just opened kind of in the, like this self-center, and just drew everything that I thought I was into it, every way that I identified, and it just like in an instant was so clear that all of that was totally fabricated, that there was never a someone present living this life. And so it was like the feeling of emptiness, and that word has a lot of connotations too. Like a mind will attach a lot of content or ideas to what emptiness is, but it's like this, it's like stillness, silence, peace, emptiness. Like all of those are the same thing. It's all the same quality. It's like this vacuity, but also this like infinite potentiality, this complete fullness. Like it's full of every single possibility that could ever be, that could ever come into being. And so like that, like emptiness dropping from a concept in the mind, which is something that Henry and I had spoken, we were speaking about on when we were recording podcast episodes, was I had a concept of emptiness, but then had to I admitted to him one day, like I don't know what it means to like be empty. And that's kind of when that part of what likely precipitated that shift was just being humble enough to admit that out loud to another human. Like, I don't know what it means to be empty. And so then that kind of vacuum, that black hole in the center of Jennifer opened and sucked Jennifer into it. And so it's very clear that there's not like a center, like a someone experiencing the world anymore. It's more of, I don't even know how to explain it. Like there's not really a sense of like a distance or like someone experiencing reality, but there is still like a subtle filter that's felt here, like a subtle distance. And something that kind of came to me recently was just having to admit that I might have just lost it. Might have just floated away. Let's see. Oh, was that if emptiness is still able to be observed and witnessed, then that's not it. That's not what I am. There's still a filter layer there. Because I can sit and witness the emptiness that has kind of consumed Jennifer, but there's still the witnessing of it. Emptiness is still being turned into an object in a really subtle way. And so that was like a deeper layer of insight that, oh, there's a filter here. And so what seems to be happening now is like this, it was almost like this black hole empty or opened up inside, and now it seems like the sense of it is like there's a black hole outside that opened, that's consuming the world. So Jennifer was consumed, and then in here was consumed, and then out there is being consumed now. And this also maybe sounds really scary, and initially it was, honestly. But this is just one of those reminders too, that not to worry about what's coming, just to be completely with whatever is here right now. But it's like I said, like the rapidity, like it's more and more rapid, like the coming and going is like happening faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And there's just like this deep, visceral, just like letting go, like instant to instant, second to second, moment to moment. It's like death and birth happening simultaneously in every single moment, and just like this deep, visceral letting go, and just like I don't know how to describe it, but it's definitely interesting and a little uncomfortable, and there's like a restlessness in this body energetically that's felt, and there have been moments of like fear and like really strong fear responses, but yeah, there's a train coming. I had a friend visit my property, and he dubbed the train the Emptiness Train, which I love, so I'm going to call it the Emptiness Train from now on, because it eviscerates all thoughts on contact. When the emptiness train goes by, whatever thought you were attached to is sent back into the emptiness from whence it came. So the emptiness train is coming, so I will leave the video there. I will leave my ramblings there. But your life is all you need. Your life as it is, paying attention and meeting it.